Hi friends, welcome to Cyber Pathshala. Today's topic is variables and data types. In this video we'll be having three sections: content, where the concept will be directly explained on today's topic; train your brain section. In this section I'll be asking either a logical or a technical question, so which will improve our logical thinking. Q&A session. So the previous session questions that were asked in the comment section will get answered here. Let us start with a variable. So variable is a container which can hold a value, or we can say that variable is a name which refers to a memory location in which we have some value. Variable we can also pronounce like variable, means itself says that it can be changeable, and every variable is associated with a data type. Let's say you declared int x equals to 10. So in this case x is a variable and 10 is a value, and you can declare a variable in this format. We have three types of variables in Java: local variables, instance variables, static or class variables. Let us start with local variables. The variables declared inside a method are called as local variables, and the scope or the accessibility of these variables is inside the same method only, and it is not available for the other methods in the same class. Let's say you have a class ABC. Inside that you have two methods, sum and mul. So inside sum you declared two variables, int a and int b, and inside mul you declared int x and y. So the variables declared inside sum a and b won't be accessible by the mul method, and the variables declared inside mul x and y won't be accessible by the method sum. Local variable cannot be declared with a static keyword. So we'll see what is a static keyword while we are discussing the keywords in Java. So here we have an example: public void sum. So inside the braces I declared two variables, int a comma int b. So I opened my method, I declared two more variables here, int x equals to 10, y equals to 20, and I closed my method. So here all the variables whatever I declared here, a, b, x and y, all these variables are local variables only. These variables cannot be accessible outside the sum method. Instance variables. The non-static variables declared inside a class but outside a method are called as instance variables. If you declare these variables inside a method, those will become local variables. So these variables needs to be declared inside a class but outside a method. Instance variable can be accessible by using the instances of the same class, and the instance variable's value is unique to each instance, and we can create any number of instances for each class. Here we have an example, class student. So inside the class I declared two variables, int a comma b. So I also declared a method sum inside the class student. So I declared two variables x and y inside the method sum. I closed my method and I closed my class. So here if you see this, so the variables a and b are declared inside the class but outside the sum method. So we call a and b are instance variables. And also I declared two variables x and y, so these are declared inside the sum method. So here we call x and y as local variables. I also created two instances, s1 and s2, for student class. So the syntax for creating an instance for any class is class name and the instance variable equals to new and then class name, open brace, closing brace and semicolon. So this is the syntax for creating an instance for any class. So here I declared student s1 equals to new student, and also I declared student s2 equals to new student. So here s1 and s2 are two different instances, and I assigned s1.a equals to 10 and s1.b equals to 20, and s2.a equals to 15 and s2.b equals to 25. Here s1 and s2 are two different instances for student class, and the values for a and b will not get overlapped as they are different instances for the class student. Next is class or static variables. The variables declared inside a class but outside a method using a static keyword are called as class or static variables. I'm repeating again, the variables declared inside a class but outside a method using a static keyword. So it is so important to use static keyword before the variable to declare class or static variables, and the class or static variables can be accessible using the class name, and there will be only one value for static variable for the whole class. Here we have an example. I declared a class student. Inside that I declared a variable int a. Before the variable I used a static keyword to make it static or class variable, and I also declared a method void sum. So inside that I declared two variables, int x equals to 30 and y equals to 40, and I closed my method and I closed my class. If you see here, the variable a is declared inside the student class, and I also prefixed that variable with static keyword to make it as class or static variable. If you want to access this static variable, you should be using a class name. So here I am using class name student dot a. So here student is my class name and a is my static variable, and I am assigning value 10 to the variable a. So, and this 10 value is same for the whole class. Next is data types. Primarily we have two different data types. One is primitive data type and the next one is non-primitive data types. So under primitive data types we have boolean, char, byte, short, int, long, float and double. So these are the primitive data types. So under non-primitive data types we have strings, arrays, objects, classes and interfaces. So these are non-primitive data types. So we can also say that primitive data types are predefined data types and non-primitive data types are custom defined data types. Here we have a complete data types chart. So under Java data types we have primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Again under primitive data types we have two types again, boolean type and numeric type. So under boolean type we have a boolean type of variables, and under numeric type we have character type and integral type. So under character type we have a char type of variable, and again under integral type we have again two more types, integer type and floating point type. So under integer we have byte, short, int and long. So these are the four different type of integer type of variables we have, and under floating point type we have two types of variable, float and double. So based on our requirement we can use any type of variable. So under non-primitive data types we have strings, arrays, objects, classes, interfaces. So these are some of the custom defined non-primitive data types. Let us discuss what are the different data types that we have and what are its sizes and when to use what. Let us start with a boolean type. Let's say I have given a statement, the sun rises in the east. So in this case either this statement can be true or it can be false, right? So in the same way I'll give you one more example. Let's say int a equals to 30 and b equals to 20, and also I said that a less than b. So in this case either it can be true or it can be false. In these kind of scenarios, like where you get either a true or a false value, so there you can use a boolean type, and this boolean type default value is false and its size is 1 bit, means it can store only one binary digit, that is either 0 or 1. The value range for boolean data type is either true or false, and here we have an example, boolean b equals to true. Boolean data types are used to store true or false values. Char. We usually use char data type to store the characters. It need not to be a alphabetical character. It can be any special characters like asterisk, hash symbol, backslash, forward slash, exclamation, and any type of characters you can store in the char data type. And the default value for char data type is \u 4 zeros, which is nothing but a 0, and the default size for char data type is 2 bytes, which is nothing but 2 power of 16, means it can store 65,536 values, and the value range for char data type is 0 to 65,535. Here we have an example on how to declare a char variable. Char c equals to inside the single quotes a and then semicolon. Byte. We usually use byte data type to declare smaller integers, and the default value for byte data type is 0, and the default size for byte type is 1 byte, which is nothing but 8 bits, means it can store a 256 character, which is nothing but 2 power of 8, and the value range for byte data type is -128 to 127. So here we have an example for how to declare a byte variable. Byte b equals to 10. I will give you an example on where to use this byte data type. Let's say you are declaring a class person. So inside that you are declaring a variable called age. So now the question is what data type I should use for this age variable. So you can use byte or short or int or long. But what an efficient programmer does is, so what is the usual range for an age? So usually from 0 to 90, 100, maximum 110, not more than that, right? So in this case, a byte variable can hold a person's age. If you declare age as any other types like short, int or long, so unnecessarily you will be wasting the memory. Short. We usually use short data type to declare short integers if it is in the range between minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. If your integer is in between this range, you can use a short data type, and the default value for short data type is 0 and the default size is 2 bytes, which is nothing but 16 bits. So here we have an example for how to declare a short variable. Short s equals to 11. Int. We usually use int data type to declare bigger integers which is not falling under short data type, and the default value for int type is 0 and the default size for int data type is 4 bytes, and the value range is minus 2147483648 to 2147483647. So and the example for declaring is int I equals to 10. Long. We usually use long data type to declare very bigger integers which is not falling under byte or short or int range, and the default value for long data type is 0L and the default size is 8 bytes. So and the value range you can see it here, and the example on how to declare a long variable is long L equals to 112. Float. We usually use float data type to declare decimal points like 3.142, 26.2. So these kind of decimal values we can declare using a float data type, and the default value for float data type is 0.0 f for float, and the default size for float is 4 bytes, and the value range you can see it here. So let's see an example. Float f equals to 10.3 f. Double. So if you want to declare any decimal values which is not falling under float data type, so then you can use a double data type, and the default value for double data type is 0.0d, d for double, and the default size is 8 bytes, and the value range you can see it here. So here we have an example. Double d equals to 11.123. Casting. The process of converting a variable from one data type to another data type is called as casting. So we have two types of casting. One is implicit conversion and the second one is explicit conversion. So and the implicit conversion is also called as widening, and the explicit conversion is also called as narrowing. In the implicit conversions, all the smaller data types will be automatically converted into a bigger data types. So we need not to specify anything explicitly. So and we also call it as widening because we are increasing the size of the variable. And also here is the chart for the possible conversions. Byte can be converted into a short can be converted into a char can be converted into an int, and a long can be converted into a double. So likewise. Explicit conversion. So in this, bigger data type variables can be converted into smaller data types, but it cannot be converted automatically. We need to specify explicitly. That is the reason we call it as explicit conversion. And also we are reducing the size of the variable. So that is the reason we call it as narrowing. Here we have two examples for implicit conversion as well as explicit conversion. So under implicit conversion, I declared a variable a as an int type. Int a
Let's start the first
10,
program,
and then I'm directly converting my int variable from int type to float type. Float f equals to a, and this will be successfully executed. Under explicit conversion, I declared a variable f as a float data type. Float f equals to 10.5f. So if I wanted to convert this float variable from float type to int type, and if I say int a equals to f, so then the compiler will throw an error, because if you say int a equals to f, then there is definitely a chance of losing that fractional value 0.5. So that is the reason the compiler is throwing an error. But if you want to explicitly specify that okay, I am okay to convert my float variable f from float data type to int data type, so that you can specify using the explicit conversion. So that you can do with int a equals to in the braces int f. So this will be executed successfully and the value 10 will be assigned to a, because so we are explicitly converting the float variable f from float type to integer type. So in the integer type we don't have a fraction value, so that is the reason it will be rounded up with the value 10. So let us write two sample programs here. The first program is sample program for local instance and class variables, and the second one is sample program for different data types along with the casting. As the video is already lengthy, we'll write these in the next session. Next is train your brain session. Previous session train your brain question is, there is a room in which there are 3 electric bulbs and the room has only one door and it is closed, and there is no way to look inside or enter inside apart from the door. Outside the room there are 3 switches in which each switch is connected to one bulb. Now the question is that you are allowed to enter inside the room only once, and how can you determine that which bulb is connected to which switch? And the answer is, turn on the first switch and leave it for a while to make it heat, and turn on the second switch and go inside the room. The light which is on is connected to the second switch, and the light which is heat is connected to the first switch, and the leftover third light is connected to the third switch. Aruna garu and Swati garu answered it correctly. Kudos to both of you. And today's session train your brain question is, in a bus there are 7 people and each one carries 7 bags, and each bag contains 7 cats, and each cat carry 7 small cats. How many legs are there in the bus? I am repeating the question again. In a bus there are 7 people, each one carries 7 bags, each bag contains 7 cats, and each cat carries 7 small cats. How many legs are there in the bus? If you have any questions in today's session, please write down them in the comment section. I will pick the top 5 questions which will be useful for everyone, and those gets answered in the next session. If you directly come to this video, here we have the complete playlist. Please go through it. If you haven't liked this video yet, please click on the like button. If you feel this video is helpful, please share it with your friends and family members. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please subscribe. Please click on the bell icon to receive all the notifications. Thank you.